how does one get out of sadness, depression, feeling low, who is not clinically diagnosed yet?
Yeah, when you're feeling down and it's consistent, but it's not been diagnosed clinically, and that's not my field of expertise, obviously. But personally, what I can say is that when I have felt down, when I have felt sad, or when I've felt challenged or frustrated and stuck, it helps to, first of all, have hope. And hope for me, it comes from a lot of different things. It comes from having perspective, and that perspective, usually one major factor that would help me have perspective was, for me, my religion, and that idea of submitting to something outside of yourself. And so what that helps with is this idea that I mentioned before, where this hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, that how wondrous is the affair of the believer, and I may not be quoting it perfectly, but that in times of good and ease, he or she can be grateful, and in times of difficulty, he or she can be patient. And either situation is a wonderful reflection on you in your trajectory towards your ultimate destination, which is going back to God, being accountable to God, and how you deal with every single moment in your life. So when you are given bounties and goodness, it's an opportunity to be grateful, and your test is, are you being grateful with what you have? And when difficulties come, how are you dealing with those? So yeah, I think with that framework in mind, a few thoughts that really helped me were knowing that this is not forever. What I'm feeling right now does not define me. I will not be stuck here forever. And what can I learn from this situation? And how can I be better from it? That comes with, of course, all the privileges I've had. Many people may not have that opportunity, but many of us, I feel like, do. And we may still feel stuck in those emotions longer than is healthy or productive for us. So I think it helps to have that perspective, submitting to something outside of yourself, taking your emotions seriously, but in a productive, forward-moving way. Right, so the main thing I was getting to was that what do you believe about your situation? Because the beliefs, what I'm convinced of now, is that whatever reality you believe in becomes your reality. So if you believe that this sucks, I can't do anything about it, I am down and I can't get out of it, then that is indeed, I feel like, what will happen. You start getting more and more into a victim mentality. And I'm saying this from personal experience, that when I was feeling those things, I would want to feel sorry for myself. I would feel like, oh, this happened to me, or this happened to me, and I'm down because of it, and oh, woe is me, if only I could have done this, or this. You start having regrets, you start wishing everything was different, and you start wasting time in the past in ways, like, you can't do anything about that. Whereas if you believe differently, so for me, the difference in belief was, okay, well, if let's say this is a test, okay, what's something difficult that happened to me? In my sophomore year of college, I am screwing up in all my classes. I am trying to do all these extracurriculars and failing at them miserably. I feel like the dumbest person in college, and I am trying to believe that I am not capable. I am not cut out to be here. I don't deserve to be here. I've just been lucky my entire life. I'm an imposter syndrome, all these different ideas. And the more power you start giving that versus focusing and worrying about, not worrying about, but focusing on, okay, why is this happening? Why am I feeling what I'm feeling? Where do I want to go and how can I get there? Instead of believing that ultimately I am here because I'm capable and I can do something about it, I'm focusing on I'm not capable, and I'm allowing myself to indulge in the negative emotions that just keep dragging me down further and further and further, and stop me from doing any of the productive things that could even address those in the first place. So I think what you believe in the situation makes a huge difference. So if you believe that what you're feeling, no matter how difficult or hard or frustrating it is simply temporary, doesn't have to be there all the time, and you, especially as someone who submits to God, who submits to a system outside of themselves as a Muslim, if you believe that that difficult situation is indeed a test, it's indeed a way that you can improve and grow and be better, then it becomes much easier. Because how is there growth and learning without pain? How is there growth and learning without difficulty? How is there growth and learning with, I mean, you can take two examples that we've discussed. There's the growing pains example, where just physically as you're growing up as a teenager, assuming normal growth, you have those growing pains. I remember feeling these pains in my shins all the time. Once, and it would hurt, but once you told me, oh, that means you're growing, I would almost feel happy when they were happening, because I was like, oh, that means I'm getting taller. Or you take the example of...
And you are taller.
Exactly, well, yeah. Or you take the example of exercise, like I mentioned. Like initially, you don't work out for your exercise for a year. That first day or first week at the gym is miserable. You feel terrible. You hate yourself for not doing this more. But then it starts feeling good. And then you start seeing the results of that, whether it's in performance or aesthetics or whatnot. And that difficulty that you feel in the gym, that discomfort, you start enjoying that because you know it means something productive. And so there's that kind of pain or discomfort that results in major growth. Just a caveat, I think it's important to distinguish like what kinds of pain are good. There's also kind of pain in the gym, which means you should stop. So having the wisdom to and the patience to differentiate those two kinds of pain is also important. But assuming it's the good kind of discomfort or pain that's helping you grow, and you know that from experience, if you start imposing that framework on a lot of the different challenges you face, life can become much easier. And ultimately, it depends on what you believe in terms of where you're going. Why are you here in the first place? If you're here to enjoy life purely, not that saying you should enjoy life, but if that's the main goal, anything that's not that is going to feel like you're a failure or miserable. But if you're here to live by a certain system, to serve others, to be a certain way regardless of how you're feeling, not that again feelings should be disregarded, but your feelings, like I mentioned before, have to be balanced out with this external system that you're submitting to. Otherwise you're just whimsically following whatever you feel like. So I think having that kind of framework, at least for me, has really helped get out of situations where I'm down in the dumps. And now thankfully, when difficult, in my life, relatively difficult times aren't really that difficult, have come, there's always a sense of, okay, no matter how bad this is, I'm fine and I'll get out of it. And ultimately, what can I learn from this, and how is this improving me, and how is this bettering me? And during this difficult situation, am I acting in the best way I should? And I think that's a really crucial thing, is that it's really easy to be a very nice and mannered and etiquette person when everything's easy. But are you able to maintain that when you're stressed and in a difficult situation and being pulled in multiple directions? Are you able to maintain that then? Because that's what I think true patience is, according to, I think, most traditions, and particularly our Islamic tradition and whatnot.
Thank you.